one thing you have to understand about these monsters who control, who send images and sounds to people's minds, is they'll just like send violent suggestions to people, and the people may bite on the suggestion and take it and follow that suggestion. And many times they'll be like, hey, slap your husband or slap your wife in particular, or be mean, punch your kid or something. They'll beam that onto a person's head, and the person will then do that. Yeah, hey, and they'll just often, punch or slap or whatever their child or their wife as at the suggestion of these monsters. I mean, can you imagine that? If you could have, you want to kill somebody, but you don't want to use your own hands. You just basically beam the suggestion onto some pawn. They do the murder for you. And what do you care? You're not, all they can say is, well, you planted the suggestion in their mind. But it's more than a suggestion. It's basically like, changing their brain to tell them to do something that they're definitely going to do. Because, 90% of the people take these suggestions, and they bite on them, basically. That's one of the grossest aspects of these monsters who keep this a secret, this sending images and sounds to people's brains, is they can do murder, but not, actually have to pull the trigger themselves. All they do is beam it onto some poor pawn's mind, Like, for example, Mark David Chapman is probably the perfect one of billions of examples of people they basically just used as this, total puppet. And, of course they were like, hey, we never pulled the trigger, but they all but did pull the trigger. They basically beam on these people's minds. And the most suggestible of these people is probably, the people who end up doing the violence for them, probably people without a lot of education. They've never been told that the thoughts in their mind might be beamed there. They've never received so much as a peanut shell of a shield in defense of such type of suggestions. The people who have been inside in the secret have been monstrous. They have been despicable. And, you have to imagine that it's like you're in Nazi Germany and you're a German citizen. Are you going to say, hey, I think that they're rounding up people in the ghettos and they're killing them systematically in gas camps? No, you're not going to say that, to your fellow German citizen. You're just not going to say those types of things. To say something like that would be instantly to be sent to the prison camp yourself, probably. And it's a similar thing here with these secret camera thought networks. One thing that's amazing is that there's an entire secret, like we have email and so on like that. These people can't use email for their thought messages and stuff. They have an entirely secret, separate system where it's all done through thought. They can only think about the camera network to their children. They cannot even talk about the camera thought network, pooping or any of these people to their children or their parents or their husband or wife. They can only think it. They can't even say openly that, hey, I hear and see thoughts. That's a no-no. You can't leave any, possibility of there being a physical recording from an outsider that might be used as evidence of this massive, massive secret system. So what they do is much easier for them just simply to think to their child, hey, I hear and see thoughts. They can just think that, or their wife or husband or parent or whatever. And, the other insider, of course, they all know you can't draw a picture of puping or do a search in the internet for puping or anything like that. They have to keep it all in their mind. They can't send an email, hey, didn't you see that other person who was thinking, this or that? They can hint at it, but they can't say specifically, what about Jane Doe or John Roe, who did 9/11 and all this, who did the actual detonation? These people, they can't say anything like that in an email or in a letter, anything like that that could be, fall into some outsider's hands and be used as evidence or whatever, especially, video or audio or something like that. There's never been an insider who's gone public and I'm not sure. There probably will ultimately or eventually. But you know what's amazing? The saddest thing is that I can actually project into the future, that by the time the people finally figure out the truth about seeing, hearing, and sending thought, I'm giving it 100 years, but it might even be longer. There's just simply no way that only one person that I know of could be telling the truth about this, seeing, hearing, and sending thought. 1 out of 6 billion or something. To me that says, people are not going to catch on anytime soon. Just they cannot understand it. It's just so shocking, unbelievable that people could ever figure out how to see eyes or see thought. It's just beyond comprehension. It just could never possibly enter even to the realm of possibility into people's thoughts. The outsider just simply cannot ever believe it or accept it. It's too unbelievable. But when you think about it, how shocking or difficult is that to believe that somebody figure out how to do it? It's certainly a good line of research.
How about